All right, guys, how we doing? Sam here with you. It's Thursday. Where are we? The 3rd of the month. Okay, 3rd of January. And as we do traditionals these days, we poll up the members, let them choose, and we have requests today for the Nasdaq 100, and then we're going to look at Apple as well. So I've got the current movement here, but before we dig into this, try and get a handle on this, I think we gotta step back and sort of get a handle on where we are. I'm going all the way. Oh, let's see. Can I do it in a daily? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Yeah. This is what I'm after. So here's the low before we head up into this. So this is 20. This is the entire. Yeah, maybe people will call that the Trump rally. So if we look at just the so what would be the first thing you'd check, right? So you'd take a dominant low, and you just grab that up to the high. And what have we done? Right? Wouldn't that be the most obvious thing you'd anticipate? Right, here's dominant pivot, oh, boom, we hit the 50. Right, so nothing radical here yet. I mean, now as to where we are in the larger count, well, that could be a different story. But right now, as we just evaluate from this February 2016 low, nothing radical here. We've come back to this. I don't even have the, bear with me, guys. Get this up. Let's get our volume profile on here. I think I can get that. Let me take a minute. There we go. So here we've got this nice little cluster here, a couple of low volume nodes. You know, we come back to this little spot here. So there's nothing, even though it feels like, holy shit. What, you know, I mean, certainly the volatility is extreme, right? So part of it is the function that this is happening in the holiday week, so we have thinner volume, right? We all know that. This is not a great time to be trading, or at least short-term trading. The volatility is absolutely nuts. You think it's bad here, take a look at crude. I mean, it's just really, really crazy. Now, this is going to settle down as we get into next week. There should be, at least the volume will come back to a normal range, so you won't have so much extreme movement. Well, shit, man, who knows? But that's more likely. Well, the extreme swings, the wild up, wild down, I think that's very much a function of lighter volume to absorb some of these moves. So you just get vacuums where price has nowhere to go. So it just free falls or it just screams higher. So so as we're correcting something here, right? So swing low, swing high. We got an internal correction right to the 50. So nothing radical other than that's a pretty steep move here. As we dig into the smaller count, if you break down the subdivision, it would suggest that that this may not be our low. Now we could have a double bottom here, something like that. Look at this. We could have something unusual here, but right now there's no reason to assume anything other than just standard wave structure, right? So impulse correction. Now where we are, and so I got to go to the 3-day. So there's a couple of interesting things here. So when you with this kind of a parabolic move here, you know, here's where we can make some projections. So if you're trying to think, okay, where are we in the count? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can make a pretty strong case here that we've completed a significant 5-wave structure here. So now we're going back to the 09 low, right? So here's the quantitative easing rally. You can think of it that way from the 09, right? The abyss, right? When the whole thing just completely fell apart. We've had, right? This shouldn't surprise any Elliottian, right? What do we get? 5-wave structure. So now you look at it and you say, well, wait a minute, man. If we've completed a 5-wave, where's the real 50, right? If we go back, if we're correcting the whole thing, then we're coming back here to the 09 low. Now look at your 50. And here's right where you'd expect it, right at the prior 3-4. So there's a reasonable case that this is just getting started. So we could be doing something like that very easily, right? That puts so for the Nasdaq, that puts you back at 4,500. Right? Seems unbelievable. Right? How could that be? No way. Right? Think about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at 18, 19, 20,000. What did you think it could be at 3,000 in a year's time? Right? Nothing. What do we got? 6 weeks here? Right? No, this very, very possible. We could easily do this. Right? Nothing, and get now, see, you got. So if you're a technician, you got to look at that and go, God, that seems so unlikely. But what's the most probable thing to happen here? Now this could take that could take 2 years. Look here, I'm on a 3-day. I'm projecting out here. That's to May of 2021. Just using a typical, symmetry for an ABC. This could take some time, right? And I'm not saying we're going there, but if you draw that up as an Elliotician and you're looking at from a dominant swing, we've completed a 5-wave count. This would be where you would, if someone said, well, where do you think the Nasdaq is going? Based on what we have right now, you can talk to me about earnings growth and interest rates and everything. Listen, if you're a technician, you're doing yourself a disservice if you try to outthink the market. Oh well, with interest rates where we are and the earnings growth forecast here. Listen, man, the technician's first assumption is that all of the known fundamental variables are already factored into the price. Right? Everything that can be known about where this is going to be going next is determined by the buyers and sellers at that price point. Right? Buyers think it's going higher, sellers think it's going lower. It's as simple as that. So if you just look at this 5-wave structure, there is no reason for you to assume anything other than that 50%. There's nothing here that says, nope, can't happen. Earnings growth is too strong. Whatever, come up with your reason. There's no reason for you to assume anything else other than standard movement in the market. A 5-wave structure is corrected by a 50% retracement. That is what you should anticipate. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, but you don't want to be blind to that. You don't want to be in here trading going, oh, shit, there's no way the Nasdaq's going to get cut in half. No way. Bitcoin in let's see, May, June, July. No way we're going to 3,000. No way. All right, so let's break this down. So there's one other thing here I thought was interesting. So with this kind of a vertical rip and you're trying to get a handle on a count over so many years, this is where it can be helpful to go into log scale just to get that separation down here. So if you look at this, now I'm going to take this off. So if we go to the very largest count in log scale, right? So you could probably make a case for this, right? So now we've got in the let's go to something huge here. Well, that'll work. Okay, so let's go up to intermediate here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well now we're in log scale, so the skewing is going to be a little bit crazy, right? It's hard on the eye to make sense of it. So we look up here to this. Let's see if I'm right on it here. So where would we be looking for the 4? Well, if we're correcting, let me get it right on there. If this is going to be a 2, well, we got a couple of contenders, right? So 38 would be 1. Here's the 50. Now, note where that 50 lines up with what we were just looking at, which was this is the 09 low for 2. We're saying, if it's going to get cut in half, well, does that fit with the larger structure? Well, this is also kind of interesting, right? So anytime you have something like that, log scale or not, you got to put median lines on it when we get there. Right? So if you're a technician, you can't, that, now look here. Look where this lines up. Interesting, right? So if this is going to be a 4 and we come down to the median line, maybe we don't make them. Maybe so highest probability for a 4 is right where we're sitting. Right? So between the 23 and the 38. So we've got a couple of different scenarios. Now 4 can go this low. So we have this 4,500 as a target. This is something I'd want to be paying attention to as well. Now we've got a ways to go before we get to 5,200. We're sitting at, what are we at, 65 and change? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where would that put you? So if we're coming back up here, we could go here, could go algo target, could take some time. Remember, this is a leading indicator. So in terms of the symmetry, this move here looks pretty sexy. So we're coming down. So this is where, right? So there's a point to all of this, right? We're going to go through the subdivision and say, could we get? Based on what we're seeing here and where we are in the count, does this make sense to go to that 50? Are we going to blow right through the median lines? Now we might hit pivot and do something like this. And we get a little pivot, and then we get a larger ABC, and we come down here. Maybe we're going here. Right? With no way to know. As we could go here, we still would be a long way from threatening the one wave of this degree, so you can't rule that out. It would be certainly deep for a 4, but the structure would be nothing wrong with the structure. It would still set you up for this. Right? Right, look at that symmetry. That's gorgeous. Look at that. Right. Now again, I know it's log scale. Right, but look at it. You can't look at that symmetry. Right, that's literally out of a textbook. You can't. I don't know if I can pull it off there. You can't script that any better in terms of an Elliott wave, 5 wave in terms of the symmetry. Right, it doesn't get any better. So we got to pay attention to that. So right now, what we can say definitively is that we're correcting a 5 wave structure. That's as far as that's what we can be certain about. 5 wave is in. Now we're correcting it. So now with all that said, let's see. I don't want to clear all of it here. Let me go back down. Let's go. Let me go to a 4 hour here, because this is where the breakdown here. And get out of log scale, so you'll see that changes things pretty radically. Okay, so here's a target we were talking about. Okay, so let's, on the assumption we have a significant top in here. So I think we can. I don't think that's unreasonable to suggest that we've got a significant top that is in at this level here as we start this correction. All right, so now into the breakdown. It's not without a couple of things that are problematic here. So what I find the simplest thing to do is work backwards, right, and see if you can piece it together in that structure. So if we look here at this swing here, this certainly looks like we've got all of the ingredients here for this to complete a 5. So something has the potential to be completing here. So from this pivot, right, you can't miss it. Right, 1, 2, 3, right, and it's incredibly technical, as you might suspect here. So there's the one wave. All right, so we go right to the 618. We just into the Vegas wave, and then we get third target. Well, we know, right? You guys all know this, that this negative 100 is shorthand for it's our quick way to say, oh, do we have a wave 3? Is that potentially a 1618? So if I grab this and we measure length of the 1 projected from the 2, right? Where's our high probability zone? Where are we most likely to spot our third wave? Right there. I can't make this up. Right? That's just absolutely perfect, right? It's perfect. So 1, 2, 3 is in. Looks like some sort of a ABC. We had a little kicker here. This was, that's the volatility of this holiday trading. So we've got the kicker here. So there's some sort of 4 is going in. Let's get this off here, and let's go down to a 1 hour here, and we'll just deal with some of the challenges here where this is not so clear. So where's the 4? Well, this can't be 1, 2, because we can't have a 2 take out the 1. So whatever is happening here, this has to be, so we could have some sort of a, let's take a look here. So we've got it looks like we get AB, but that's a very short C. So this potentially could be some more in this. So let's look here at the length of the third. So we've tagged the 50 here. So it looks like a little structure may have come into play here. So this pivot here, all right, looks like that may be in play here as some resistance as we've attempted to crack it twice. So you look here and say, well, that can't be it. So first thought is A, B, C. It's not absolutely crystal clear. So you'd have to go A, B. It's problematic with the C. So it's not crystal clear. But in terms of where we end up, this is most probable that we've got something like this. So unless there's I don't think I can get a diagonal in there. I don't think I can. So I think we have to go this way. We'd have to go into the ABC here on the assumption we don't have another kick. I'd relabel if we had to. If this is going to come up and take out this high again, then it gets a little more problematic as to what we actually have here. But right now, I go with this double top here, and it would appear that we're starting the 5th. So this looks reasonable as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still going in. Now that degree is way too high, of course. So let's go. We can go down here. Let's go to green. Okay. So possibly, right? This is all we're doing here, right? So I certainly wouldn't be looking for. So here's where the Elliott count can be helpful, right? So with all of that, so if on the idea that we have a, that we have a 1, 2, 3, the 4 is a little difficult to get clarity on here, but the double top would, and the structure would suggest that this correction, the correction of the third wave, would appear to be complete. I don't love this ABC, but I'm already done. It doesn't look like there's another. It's a little bit difficult to get a handle on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could. It's actually. See, so what we're running into is. All right, where's the probability for a 4? We really don't want it to go this far. And so if you're looking at completing this for this structure, we want this to complete down here rather than get this high. Right? Right? It's all relative to whether you have a bias or if you're in the market. Now, most people are long equity, so you may not want this to go down, but as a technician, this resolves better for us to get a handle on where we are in the count, to have this come down here and finish in 5. Now, if that does finish in 5, that's not necessarily our low, but look where we'd be down here. So algo targets at 5,500, and we were looking at a 50% move would take us down to 4,500. Here's the 38 of the entire move, right, that we were just drawing up. Here's the 38, right, and here's the 50 at 4,700. So could we get down that low from here with this structure? Well, we can do a couple of things to identify here. Let me take that off. So so a couple of things could be going on. So this could just be a one wave of something larger that's yet to finish. If we're going to go all the way down here to 4,500, we got a ways to go. So you look here and you go, well, if this is a 3, 4, 5, even if I take some extreme readings here, so I take the length of the 1 projected from the proposed 4 and say, well, what's about as far as that could go? Well, I mean, it's just an extreme extension in the 5th would have you. Yes, this doesn't seem likely, does it? It would have you down here at a 2,618 of the 1, but that's. Even if we take the length of the 1 through the 3, let's look at that, right? So this is another thing you look at. If you're going to get an extension in the 5th, length of the 1 through the 3 projected from the proposed 4, well, now it gets a little more maybe, right? So here would be 100% for maybe. Maybe that's a way that we could get down that far, but it's going to take a real kick in the 5th to get that, right? So we have the ingredients, and government shut down. We've got to. I'll keep my politics out of it, but we have some of the ingredients for a more substantial fall. Now you look at that and you say, wow, is that realistic? Could we be going that far? Now it doesn't look so far. Right, 6,100. Right, crazy tweet. Certainly possible. Let's look at it here. So this is where. Coming back here to our top here, this is where the Elliott count can be helpful. So if we dig in here, okay, there's a couple of areas that create some conundrum here. So this looks like if this is our, let's get that something. Okay, if that's our big 5, it looks like I can get 5 coming down nice and clear. I can get my subdivision. The 1, 2 is a little tricky here, but I am, we have this. This sort of shrunk a little bit so I can get the whole thing in here. So it looks like we can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, 4. Now I've complete the 5. I've got my A wave. So right, so this now from the high, if the A is done and the 5 is in, right, we go right between the 50 and the 618, right where you'd expect it. Here's the algo target, hits it, gets through it on that wick. Back to the 38, back down. Now we're blown through second target. So this as an A wave looks pretty solid. Okay, so, and then an ABC into a B. Well, now this, I gets, kind of an ugly diagonal. I think this plays because of the fact that if I take the length of the third, the start in a diagonal here, I get the overlap of the 1 right here, but I get in a diagonal, this is textbook. We want to see the 4 at the 50 from the start of it through the pivot of the 3. So I take that as the most likely candidate, right? Note here at the 50 to the tick, and just just tags the Vegas wave. All right, so down we come down from that, and that goes right to target. Now we get the spike through it, but look at the reaction. Where does the reaction come? Right back to the 618 to the tick. But now we'd be looking at it differently. So if that's complete as an ABC, so what would that mean? If I've got a completed ABC and then we go into a three-wave counter trend, well, that's setting me up for a WXY. So the way I think this is playing right now, and I'm going to show you the alternate as to why this is a problem, potentially a problem. So if this is our start of it, I got an ABC, that's the W. Then I've got a three-wave counter trend. Now, it's not, right, this is an issue, right, as relates back to Elliott Wave International. They want to see that X wave go 80 to 90% of the A. I find that less often than I find something like this. Now, right, so what would we anticipate there? All right, so the W's in. Here's 50 to the tick. We come back up. We try and challenge the 618. Can't get there. So, but it certainly looks technical. Look at this reaction here. That is not random. Oh, coincidentally here, that A wave ended right at the 50. No, it's not random, right? So then here we don't have quite enough kick to get to the 618, right? So it rolls over with these guys here. They don't need to defend. So these guys that shorted here, oh shit, you know, who knows? We never know exactly what they do. We just know that it leaves this footprint. So we get an ABC. I think that's your X wave. So I think I can go ABC down from that because this looks like 5, that looks like 3. Now I got a straight rip. What do I do with that? Well, if that's an ABC, then that's a candidate for, remember, with after the X, we're looking for another ABC. So that's a candidate for an A wave. Well, let me do it this way. This is a candidate. This would be my 0. This would be the A wave. Here's the problem wave. All right. How? All right. So if we're just working through that and you come up to that and you're like, oh, I got it. Okay, there's the W. Got it. Okay. There's the X. Yeah, it's a little shallow, but there's the start of my A. So it looks like maybe I'm going to have a flat. So I've got 3, 3, 5. Well, this is your problem, right? So man, you're really, really stretching to try and get that into a 3-wave. I mean, it's a perfect impulse. So what do you do with that, right? So it has to affect your thinking to some degree because you cannot call that a B wave if you're going to put a 5-wave structure on that. So even I'm down to the hourly. So you look at it and you go, yes, is there? Could I? Maybe. Could this be A, B, C? Even the 1 wave is a little tough here to try and get that as a 1, 2. This looks like maybe you have a truncated, maybe you've got an expanded B here. If you do the 3 here, you got a little ABC there. It's mighty shallow here. It could be here. We've just got a ABC truncated C. It's hard to know, right? But 1, 2 looks like 3, 4, kicker in the 5th. I definitely, well, what's my point here? I got 5 there. Can't be a B wave. So what's the alternate, right? So you're cruising along there and you're like, oh, this looks great. I think I've totally got the count figured out. Oh, shit. Can't be a B wave. So that affects that. So what's the alternate? So we got to pull back out and say, well, what else could be going on there? I cannot have 5 in a B. So you got to look at it and say, okay, well, what's an alternate? So let's take that off. So if this ABC is clear, could we have, so this is 3, 3, 5. So what's the alternate here? We could have an expanded flat, right? Okay, so that allows for us to include this 5-wave structure and not go, well, that's kind of annoying, but I'm going to stick with my count. 3, 3, 5. That's what I think we've got, right? Because of this. So you got to relabel. So it looks like this is, so this would be, let's see that, we can keep that as an ABC. So going to a larger degree, this would have to be A, B, C going in. Now let's take that up. Oh, minuet. White's fine. Okay, so A, B, C, right, into an A. Now, see, so you might think, oh, well, couldn't I still have the WXY here? Couldn't I still have, pardon me, ABC into a W, ABC into an X? You could, except now we're really pushing the limit here in terms of the depth of the retracement, right? Remember, per, you know, the de facto, well, no, that's the wrong way to say it, per the standard of Elliott Wave and per Elliott Wave International, they want that B wave much, much higher, 80 to 90% of the prior A. So now you're really stretching it. Now, could that be? Could we have WXY? Yeah. Does that fit as well? Well, if this is A and then we get an ABC here, then we're trying to finish in 5. Remember, we're coming down here trying to finish in 5. If this was WX, then I'm just still in the A wave. You follow me there? So if this was the X and we're connecting two two ABCs via an X wave, well, number one, we've got a problem with a very, very shallow X wave. And now we'd be looking to go ABC, meaning that this what appears to be a relatively clear 1, 2, 3, 4 still going, potentially the 4 in, the 5 now yet to come. Right, so if you're long stocks of any sort, you don't want that to be an A wave, right? Because if that's the A, we're going a whole lot lower, right? And this 50 is going to look like that would have been the good news. So I want to finish this in 5 down here, right? And I'd rather, right, if we're going to go this low, well, we got to be, you know, is this realistic? So the 1, 2, right, coming back here to where we are now, that doesn't look like that's the 1, 2 of the larger degree. That looks like that could be the 1, 2 of the 1 of the 5th. So bringing that back down, let's go sub-micro. So if this is just going to be, right, and this is already a little squirrely here because of this volatility that we've had. So let's play that out. So here, let's do it this way. I'll just start over. So if that's going to be just the 1 wave. So if this is 1, 2, let's think 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's likely our 1 wave, and just using the tools so that we can lay out a potential map. 1, 2. Well, here's 100. Here's the high probability zone. Right? Here's your 3, your 4. Excuse me. Maybe we get the 5 there. So we'd have potentially this would be just 1. Then we're looking for 2, then 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to redraw that here. Let's just get that over. So, okay, so would that work? So if that's in here, then we're looking for 3, 4, 5. That would just be the 1 wave of the 5th. So now we got 1. Ah, shit. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just placeholders. Now let me get that. Let's get that degree up. Let's go to subminuet. Okay, so, and let's change that color so we don't lose track. Let's go blue. Okay. So does that work? If that's 1, now we're looking for a 50% minimum. Okay, 50 to 618. Let's split the difference. There's a 2. All right, where's the 3 that we're looking for? All right, that would be, we know shorthand for the 3 is the negative 100, so I can just look here. I don't have to redraw. And I can bring this all the way down. Okay, so here's a contender for the 4. Here's the 3. 5 coming down. All right, here's the potential 5th. All right, so there we go. So let's map it out here from the 2 to the 4. And again, this is all hypothetical here. I'm just trying to, could we get there? Would it make sense? Well, where's the 4? Well, let's put the 4 closer to the 38. Here's the algo target right there. Okay, there's a roadmap. Now let's pull that all the way back out and let's go to a 4-hour. Let's see if we can get the whole thing pieced together. Let's do an 8-hour. Okay. All right, big fat zone down here that we have as a target. So we've got this cluster here. Now there's the 38 of the very large pull. Remember when I pulled it in, well, I guess I'll have to go back out to that. I pulled it from in log scale. Can I do this here? I might have to go to the 3-day. Hang on so I can show it to you. See how that all fits together. So let's go back to log scale. All right, there we go. Okay, so here, look where that is. Now I know that's going to be hard to see, but let me zoom in here so you can see where that would put that 5. What's there? Median line. Right? Coincidence? Maybe. If you had a target, right, that's a pretty juicy target. That would give us our 5 down here. So putting that whole thing together, what do we end up with? We're targeting the 50% or the 38 of a potential 4 and the median line. So let me get all this off here. I know that's going to be impossible to see. Let's get all this off here. That's where I think we're headed. All right, this potentially now, right? All of that's you could go lower here. So this all could finish here. We retrace, and then we've got even more if we're going to go to the 618. But remember, here's the 50, which is more probable if it's a wave 2. Right, so this would put us here, and then we're still going up. So this could resolve here. We could get a completed WXY here. Maybe there's an XYZ. Don't know, right? So this would be this if we're pulling from this. If we complete down here and we get the pivot, right? No reason to assume anything other than a move back to the 50. We get to the 50. Where's that algo target? Right here. You see, so that hopefully, even though that can be a little bit laborious working through it that way, and probably even more laborious to listen to me do it, but that's how you want to try and construct the roadmap. So people say, shit, man, where's the Nasdaq going? What's going on with all of this volatility? Well, that's how you build a roadmap and say, well, where are potential buy opportunities? Well, if we come down to 5,200, I'd sure want to know about that. And if we come down here to this second target, call it 4,500 to the 50 of the entire thing, those are big time buys, right? That can be, that's the kind of buy that can change your life, right? So, is it worth waiting for, right? Or do you want to screw around trying to get every little swing here, right? Or do you want to wait for that? If this is going to keep going, we're not that far away. Really, things start to get ugly. This government shutdown labors on, right? Some of the issues going on in Washington get more complicated. How about I say it that way? There's more uncertainty. The one thing markets abhor is uncertainty. So with all that uncertainty, this starts to be not so crazy to consider. Literally, I put that together by the numbers. Just using the tools. Where we like to go. Now, does that mean that's where we're going? Well, you can certainly build a trading plan around it. It sure looks like it's a possibility. Nothing unreasonable or crazy about what I just went through. Right? All very typical wave relationships. So we're going down that far. I sure would want to know about it when we get down there. That's a place to have an alert on. All right, so shit, I went long on this one. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so there's a lot to chew on there. But, I guess the idea, if you're a member, we can work through this together. If you're watching on YouTube, learning how to do that, I mean, you can kind of follow what I just did there. So, but what I would encourage you to do is go to a blank chart and try and sort it out yourself, just based off of, just keep it simple, 5s and 3s. Right, see if you can come up with something. See if you can build a roadmap so you understand and leave it somewhere. So you've got this. Right? So if you come back to it, like, holy shit, look at that, right to the median line. There's the bounce. Oh, we're back at the, right? Because this is potentially now an unfair advantage. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that unfolds, but we'll I'm sure come back to visit this. I mean, the last time I did one, we were a little reluctant to call this as a significant high. Now I'm fairly certain that's a significant high. All right, so with that, I'll wrap it up here. Oh, just a reminder here, we still have the last couple of days of our New Year's special, so if you're interested in some of those packages here, it's a good way to save some money. There'll be a link underneath this video if that interests you. All right, guys, with that, I'll wrap it. I'll be back with one more. We look at Apple today, which, no surprise, will be very similar to this. Okay, guys, see you later.